Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is December 29th and I am in Mountain View, Hawaii still for a few more days. Went out and saw the volcano last night. Pretty epic show. You can see the fountains going 60 to 100 feet up into the air and pretty amazing glow, and the hike out there is pretty nice as well. So anyway, taking a look at what is going on, you can see I've got the visible satellite imagery. You can see the sun rise across the Pacific Ocean, and you see the off and on precipitation here with some cold air cumulus behind off the coastline. There is going to be a thunderstorm threat with this as well. Nothing too serious, just kind of the one and done flash type things, but we do have some mountain snows also, and we'll dive into the extended forecast a little bit here as well. And I am out here in near Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and you can see there's some tempests right outside the park area there. Highly recommend this station. I'll leave a new link below for 10% off if you decide you want one of these. I'm very impressed with this station. I like how it updates every 3 seconds, and it's got a great website where you can access from anywhere, and it stores all this data for you in the cloud. Now, taking a look at Seattle-Tacoma here, National Weather Service. So you can see we got winter weather advisories. Look at these slopes of the Cascades for some of the higher terrain. There's winter storm warnings. You see some of the southern Cascades as well as you go through Pierce County and a bit further south down towards Oregon. We still got the hydrologic outlooks ongoing because we got a decent amount of precipitation out here recently. Not excessive amounts, but some pretty good amounts. It's rained, for example, 16 days of some sort there for SeaTac. And we're watching for some landslide potential out there. It's always hard to know where that is going to come from here, but just kind of be aware of it. If you look at that thunderstorm threat, it does include Southwest Washington, Oregon, and some California. I wouldn't rule even one out a little bit inland here, more across Western Washington. But again, not a big deal with that. Now, if we take a look here, this is the winter storm warning here, Pendleton, Oregon. So we do have some of this heavy snow here. And this is some of the eastern Washington Cascades as well. So they also mentioned Snoqualmie Pass here at 6 to 10 inches between 2,500 and 3,500 feet, including Snoqualmie Pass, which is right there at 3,000 feet. Now, Portland, Oregon, you can see winter storm warnings down through the Cascades here, hydrologic outlooks out there as well. And if I click on, actually, let me back up there so I can click on that winter storm warning just to kind of give you a snow level update here. As you see, heavy snow above 3,000 feet, 10 to 14 inches at Willamette Pass and Santiam Pass with 6 to 8 inches along Highway 26 near Government Camp. So yeah, some gusty winds out there also. This goes through 4 a.m. on the day Monday. Now, Spokane with its good graphics. You see a little bit of snow flying there for Spokane and some I-90. Shouldn't amount to much, but if you go across a higher trail, look at that Lookout Pass, 12 to 18 inches. This was updated here around 8 a.m. this morning. Look at Stevens Pass, 1 foot to 1.5 foot. Moses Lake and Ritzville not getting any snow out of this. You can see Wilbur, maybe a little bit of snow flying. I think Chelan is expecting a couple inches as well, and more for Wenatchee. You see 4 to 6 inches for Wenatchee this goes on into Sunday and Monday morning. Now, wider view of things, you can see we do have a lot of winter weather advisories and some winter storm warnings for some of the Blue Mountains and some for the Idaho areas here, the higher terrain, and for western Montana, and again up and down the Washington and Oregon Cascades. Pendleton, Oregon, we have the Oregon-Washington Cascades heavy snow. Again, this goes through 4 a.m. Monday, and they do talk about the northern Blue Mountains there above 4,000 feet through 10 a.m. Monday, 8 to 16 more inches above 5,000 feet. And you can see again here across some Idaho Panhandle and western Montana, and again, look out past some big amounts coming in here as well. And some light snow could be going down into the valleys at times, but the big amounts are falling across the higher terrain. Now let's take a look at what is going on here. This is the North American model 12Z run. You can see the precipitation continuing through many areas as we scroll on in through the evening hours. You see some of this showery activity. You could get a lightning strike out there. Again, you might not see any at all here across the region, but the showery weather continues all the way on in through Monday coming up, keeping some mountain snow ongoing as we go through the day Monday. And then we get a little bit of a break as we go through the day Tuesday, but then as we go through Tuesday evening, you see the next frontal system already knocking on the door of the Washington, Oregon coast. And if we take a look at precipitation type, BC, Washington, Oregon here, if I scroll through this, you can kind of see that mountain snow as we go through this afternoon across Washington Cascades, and it continues here with some of these showers slamming into the Oregon Cascades as well. and that continues on in through Monday morning. We go through Monday afternoon, wrapping up across the Washington Cascades. And we get a little bit of a break here very early Tuesday morning until about Tuesday evening or Tuesday afternoon. You can see the next round of precipitation incoming there. Now, wider view of things, Hawaiian Islands, bottom left, there's BC, Washington, and Oregon. This is the system moving through right now, and we look for a bit of a break here on the day Tuesday. There it is. The next weak frontal system arrives as we go through Tuesday night, and you see some precipitation just kind of continuing. No big storms right now, but then a stronger storm looks like it arrives as we go on in towards this Friday and towards the weekend there. You see some decent pressure gradients, maybe up the coastal areas, not a major windstorm by any stretch of the imagination. The precipitation continues on in towards January 5th. Then we get a bit of a break here and maybe some ridging trying to develop, some Arctic air moving east of the Rockies. I'll show you more on that here in a moment. But you see these systems still taking their turns here at the Pacific Northwest. We don't get a break for too long. But then as we go off way off into Fantasyland, you can see more of a break there. But we'll worry about that later. Now, taking a look at 850 millibars, you see that purple and the greens and the blues up there. That's Arctic air that tries to settle down into some of central British Columbia. And you can see it east of the Rocky Mountains. The Rocky Mountains are a great terrain feature to keep that very cold Arctic air mass out of places like Washington, Southwest BC, and Oregon for the most part. But you can get tracks where it comes out over British Columbia, or it comes off of Southeast Alaska and wraps back in, or if the cold air mass is deep enough, it can kind of flow over the mountains and through the terrain and get down into the region. But you see it doesn't make too much headway. We've got southerlies there at 5,000 feet with mid-latitude cyclones off our coastline there. So what we need is more of a blocking ridge out here. We need to block these westerlies. We need to divert things and bring a more of a north and a northwest flow, cross-polar flow back down into the region, allow some of that very cold air to get back out into the Pacific Northwest if we want that Arctic air. And just a reminder, we're still just only in late December. A lot of time La Nina's effects don't take hold until we get into the portion of January, February, and even March. You know, you can get snowfall in March as well. But if we scroll back out there, you can see how that Arctic air stays bottled up east of the Rockies, slides down into some of the lower 48. Look at that, some cold temperatures getting all the way down in towards Texas here. But look at this. We got some, some warm air aloft coming back up across the region as we get some ridging. You can kind of see the anticyclone here off the west coast of North America. So we'll be watching this closely as well. But of course, then there's going to be some systems trying to move in there. We're going a little bit too far out in the forecast with that one, though. And now taking a look at the GFS, I just want to show you that the Arctic air does show up here as well. And this is as we go through this week here, but it stays bottled up for the most part across British Columbia. As again, we still have the westerlies. We need that blocking out here. The ridging needs to be out across 140 west or up across the Aleutian Islands and then up into Alaska to redirect that flow back across the Pacific Northwest. So you can see that Arctic air then slide down east of the Rockies and be impacting some portions of the central USA, then maybe eventually off towards the east coast as we go on in through later in the period here that we're looking almost 10 days out. But you can also see that very warm air aloft all the way up across the Gulf of Alaska in towards western Canada and portions of the Pacific Northwest. And if we take a look at 2-meter temperature anomaly, I'll scroll through this really quick. Again, you can see that Arctic air, and then it slides down. Look at it just kind of dominate places east of the Rockies, and maybe a little bit of that will leak into some areas there for eastern Washington, Idaho, Montana, but it's not too much. Then you can see that really warm air. This is at the surface, and just because you get the warm air aloft doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be above average at the surface. You can get what's known as an aversion, so you get really foggy and you stay kind of chilly out there, and you're not getting much in the way of weather. Kind of the really boring stuff there is when you get fog for long periods of time. Hopefully that doesn't materialize. Looking at Seattle, I wanted to point this out. We're at 5.38. We're almost to normal here. We got 3 more days to go. We're going to get a bit more. We should finish just above average for the month of December. And look at the average lows, 37.2. We're at 38.9. You can see the average high of 49.5 versus the usual 47.0. So it definitely has been warmer than normal for SeaTac for the month of December. Same thing here. We're looking at Bellingham, and you can really see it there also. Significantly above average, both in highs and lows, and we have now, looks like we've passed that total there, so we're above average there for the month of December so far. And taking a look at precipitation, this, I'll try to scroll out to the first, let's see, or the 31st, and see when exactly we are going into the new year. Here we go through December 31st, we're going into the first right about here is about where we wrap it up, another 1/2 inch for Seattle. in some areas across the higher terrain getting some decent amounts. But if we scroll far enough out there and through the first week of January, you can still see we have these systems coming in at the Pacific Northwest. We'll just continue to watch it day by day to see how strong these systems are going to be. But as we get towards January 11th, there you can see Seattle 3+ inches, and pretty good amount here across a lot of the region. Day 1 excessive rainfall outlook does include some portions of western Oregon. It's just a marginal risk right now. And then day 2, there is nothing. Here's that landslide potential. Once you get to the right of this line, you're worried about some landslide activity. So we're pretty close here. But, you know, the daily rainfall amounts haven't been that excessive. But we have had, again, 16 days of rainfall, including a couple days of trace at SeaTac. And looking at snow also. So yeah, let's scroll through here. This is 24-hour total. So this would be wrapping up tomorrow morning. You can see the round for the Cascades, Oregon, Idaho Panhandle, western Montana. Get a bit of a break here, but then we get some more snowfall coming in. A few more inches there across the Washington Cascades. We go through Thursday, and then we scroll off into the future. And you can kind of see we are going to get some rounds of rainfall. Nothing overly heavy, though, right now. And then we get a bit of a break. Maybe that's some of that warm air moving up across the region. Hopefully that doesn't come into fruition. That can really mess with the snowpack and kind of flatten it out and smush it down. Looking at avalanche.org, if you're going out the backcountry, make sure to check this before you go. Considerable avalanche danger is in place. And look at Mount Hood is still at high. There's some high across the Walla Walla Mountains and the Blue Mountains there, and some of the Rockies out there also. So go ahead and check in before you go. And just kind of showing you, this is Kilauea. So if you check my Blue Sky or my Twitter account, you can see I posted a couple pictures the last couple days. And I've been hiking out here and trying to get some nice views, and saw some pretty good stuff there yesterday. It was fountaining up again pretty high. It wasn't that far off from what you see right there actually on the Google Maps. But yeah, I'll probably go out here one more time today and see where we can go if we get a little bit of different angle. And channel's doing good. We're up over 91,500 subscribers. So yeah, click like and subscribe. Looks like most people that watch, or about 50% that watch, subscribe. And that's really pretty good for YouTube channel. So anyway, much appreciation for that. So yeah, I'll go off and try to enjoy Hawaii, some of the weather out here. It's nice and warm, and I'll be back here in a few days, but I'll keep doing my daily briefings best I can. So anyway, we'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.